So we are back with another video. If you haven't been to my channel before and this is your first time seeing me, welcome to All Things KT. My latest video I dropped, I basically gave an update on my life, where things has been going, what's been really happening with me, why I've been MIA, and it's primarily because of my pregnancy. So if you want to check that video out, feel free to do so before you jump into this one. But as promised, for this week, I'll be getting into the questions and concerns that I had throughout this whole pregnancy process and the types of things that I wanted to talk to my doctor about. Just because when you're having a baby for the first time, it's a lot of things that you don't know. And it's some things that you don't even consider thinking about or asking about until the time happens. So I figured, why not let y'all in on a few of the things that was going on in my head and the questions that I asked, because again, I don't know who else is on this journey at this moment, but if I can help support you in trying to navigate this whole new experience, I'm happy to do so. So let's get into it. So to start with the questions that I had at the very beginning, I had lots and lots of questions, but honestly, like one of the main things that I was concerned about was, of course, like the caffeine, because I was drinking coffee before I was pregnant, and like I would do my own like little fasts of like, okay, I'm going to give up coffee for a certain period of time just to make sure I was just hydrating well with my water. But I do prefer, you know, a caramel macchiato or a French vanilla, what was it? Like a French vanilla coffee. Pretty much using the creamers, or if you have like the hazelnut and the vanilla creamer with your coffee. And then of course there were like Starbucks drinks that I liked, Einstein's drinks that I liked. So definitely had like my coffee preferences. However, when I became pregnant, I was concerned with, you know, is that something that I could still do, or how does that work? So my main thing was, can I still have coffee? What are my caffeine limits? And my doctor did inform me that it's recommended 8 ounces, no more than 8 ounces of coffee per day. And same with teas, if you drink caffeinated tea, because I do tea as well, but most of my teas aren't caffeinated. So I really didn't have to, I was able to kind of stick to my teas versus the coffee. I'm not gonna lie, I just gave up the coffee completely because me knowing myself, let me just cut it out cold turkey. And then it was like a mental thing for me to like discipline myself so that I could see if I can like just cut it off. And then when I can get it again, I'll just of course be drinking it. But I'm not gonna lie, I am looking forward to my first cup of coffee after I have this baby. But that was one of my questions. For those who are tea drinkers, again, like I said, if you have caffeinated tea, it's the same thing, 8 ounces a day. But if it's not caffeinated, my doctor was like, it's really nothing is wrong with drinking my tea throughout the day. So usually I probably have like 2 cups of tea max in a day. Of course, if I have like congestion or things like that, I'll have maybe 3, but that's the max of the uncaffeinated tea. I think that's the right way to say it. So that's that first question. Another question that I had was grapes. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I am an avid Googler. So soon as I learned about, you know, my pregnancy, I was just like, what vegetables and fruits are going to be better for me? What fruits are there, if any, fruits that I need to stay away from? Same with vegetables. And I came across like an article saying that grapes weren't really good for pregnant women. I think specifically like the first and second trimester. And I couldn't I mean, it mentioned something about like, it's something in grapes that causes like your body to get hot, or like you'll probably like get hot, whatever. I didn't know what it was, but all I know is it was like a red flag for me because I love grapes. And I was just like, dang, I thought grapes would be a good snack, you know, for me to snack on. So ended up talking to my doctor about that, and she debunked that whole Google article, whatever it was. Pretty much it's like, grapes are fine. You can eat grapes. It's nothing that's gonna like harm you. So I kept eating my grapes. I will say I ate a lot of mangoes. I had a lot of watermelon. I ended up craving plums. I like plums anyways, but I haven't had them in such a long time, so that was a new one for me because I hadn't had them in a while. But the grape question was definitely something I had, so I don't know if anybody else out there that was wondering that or came across that on Google, but we're fine to eat our grapes. I know it's like you don't want to eat, you want to kind of mix up your diet, so don't have like too much of one fruit or vegetable. I know a good rule of thumb is like have a colorful plate or like a colorful diet, so allowing yourself to make sure you're like getting fruits and vegetables of like all the different colors. That way you know you're getting a good variety. Help me when I go grocery shopping and like to remind myself throughout the day of like, okay, what have I eaten? Like what types of foods have I put in my body? Because some days it's like I'm craving Big Macs, fries, chicken fingers, cheeseburgers. And I got to remind myself like, girl, you cannot eat that all the time. Like you need to balance that out. Maybe a salad, get some strawberries, have a kiwi, you know, a little something like that. So that is something I would definitely advise. And of course, do not be afraid of the grapes. The grapes are okay. Going into the third question, which y'all probably, if you are pregnant or newly pregnant, this is probably something that you've already asked. But like I said, I'm letting y'all in on all the things that I was like asking my doctor. When it came to physical activity, like what were some beneficial things that I could do that actually would not cause any strain on my body? Or like what were things that I should stay away from? Because working out before, you know, you can do a variety of different things. But in certain positions now, I've like really now in my third trimester, like I can't even think about doing. But I wanted to kind of have a grasp on like what types of things I could be doing to make sure I'm still physically active, because that's definitely going to play a role in giving labor and your energy levels. I noticed that I was really, really tired at the beginning of my pregnancy, like super tired, falling asleep like no other. And it was the point where it was like I could tell that I was like getting lazy. And I know like we're creating life, so technically it's like you're working even when you don't think that you're doing anything. But I'm somebody that like moves a lot, and I like, okay, I have to get things done, or mentally I feel like I gotta get 1,000 things done. So sitting down like that was kind of like a shock for me. But I ended up, again, I asked her about like what things that I could do, and of course yoga was like the #1 recommendation, which I have been doing a lot more yoga than I did before, and that is definitely relaxing for my body, but it also has strengthened like my legs. And then it's given me, honestly, it's really like helped me become more in sync with my body and my breathing. So that's been a great, I guess, alternative or a great change in my physical activity compared to what I previously was doing. Also, she recommended lots of walking, like walk after a meal. If I could get 2 walks in a day, like in the morning and then at night, that's awesome, because it's just pretty much keeping my metabolism in the mind of like working normally in the midst of me still having to carry a baby and it's going through all these different changes. It's like a little way of making sure your body is still like burning the fat that it should be, rather than it's like going into a whole new system and you have to kind of like retrain that once you have the baby. So walking, yoga, and then water aerobics was something that she recommended. And we don't have a pool in our community, so that was kind of a little tricky for me. But whenever I do go to a pool or I'm at a pool, I do try to take advantage of doing like some water aerobic exercises. Nothing too intense, but like, you know, something to just like move your legs, move your arms, like get the body moving around, get the blood flowing. When we went to DR, I was able to take advantage of water aerobics the entire trip. We were there for 5 days, and I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling myself because I was able to get my water aerobics in as well as walking a lot because it was a resort. But of course, like pacing myself and walking, but I realized that gave me so much energy and I didn't feel like I would rest when I was resting, right? Like if I'm laying down by the beach or I'm laying by the pool, I would kind of doze off or like fall asleep, but it never was a matter of me feeling like I was like restless. Like I literally need to just sleep and I could not, stay active with things that we had planned. So those are three things that I definitely feel like has helped me. I know me and my husband, like he'll try to have me like do other little workouts and stuff, but because of the belly and everything, it's just like the safest thing has been yoga and it hasn't caused a major strain on my body. So those three things are things I would recommend. If you have a pool, take advantage of your pool. It's like a perfect way to get the workout in and not even feel like you're getting a workout in. So I think that would be my favorite, the water aerobics. But like I said, I don't have a pool over here, so I take advantage of the yoga and we walk. So we have a lake in the back of our neighborhood. I could take walks there. And those are like about a mile. And just I'm not speed walking or anything. I'm just taking a stroll, coming back home, and that's about a mile. So doing 2 of those a day are great. Now, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Some weeks, hell, some days I may not get to 2, but at least me getting to 1 and then like throughout of the day moving around, or like if I'm unable to walk, I do my yoga. So it's kind of like, you got to find what works for you and you don't want to overexhaust yourself because you still need to rest. You're creating a human, a whole human. You are creating a baby. Like, it takes so much more energy than what you can think or even talk about. But I'm like just now understanding, like, my body is working 25/8, and I just have to make sure I get a little bit of things in to make sure it's maintaining everything as we're creating more of this baby, as well as hormones arising and different shifts and changes to your body. So long story short, water aerobics, walking, and yoga. Perfect ways to get your physical activity in. So the fourth question that I wanted to share with y'all that I definitely had to ask about was baths. So being in the shower, honestly, like that's my normal like default, but sometimes like I did not have the energy to stand up that long, which was wild but again, it was a whole new like shift in my body and all of the altering that's going on. But it would be like I would feel like I would kind of get like a little like lightheaded when I was in the shower, or it was like I just need to sit down, like I really cannot keep standing up. So I was wondering if baths were okay, because I haven't I'll take a bath. I take baths on occasions. It's not like my normal. I normally will get in a shower and that's it. So being pregnant, I'm just like, oh wow, okay, maybe a bath will actually be more helpful for me and actually relaxing, so that I don't have to feel like I'm putting so much pressure and the weight is still like just being on my legs. And so I asked her, hey, how does it work? Like, is there a certain temperature I have to do? Literally, y'all, I was so critical. And she told me, she was like, it's a valid question. And baths are actually recommended because it does allow you to sit down. But at the same time, you're not having to kind of like keep all the pressure on your feet and on your legs, because that's where you're carrying all of this new weight. So that was something that I took advantage of as well. I started doing 1 to 2 baths a week, depending on how I felt. And I would kind of say that as like my self-care night, just to like make it an incentive for myself, especially after a long week of work and just life. And so those, I would light me a candle and I would, get in my warm bath water, and like it was really relaxing, very peaceful. And I honestly feel like that also kind of calmed me and allowed my legs to have some release, I guess. It relieved my legs because it was just like a lot on them. And I have gained most of my weight in my legs and in my stomach, like my stomach area, my thighs. So it was kind of like, whew, okay, I can actually like chill out. And I feel like this bath is very like therapeutic for me. So baths, highly recommend, highly recommend. Now I will say I took most of my baths during the end of the first trimester throughout most of my second trimester. Once I started getting bigger, then it was a little harder for me to like get in a tub and like sit down without me feeling like I was about to like slide in the tub. So, and my husband, like, he'll help me too sometimes, but it's like once I get in there, then trying to like get up and out of the tub took a lot more strength. And I didn't realize, like, yes, your belly is going to be a lot bigger at the end versus the beginning and the middle. So you're going to have to make adjustments. So that's one thing that I will say. Everybody's pregnancy is different, but that was the only thing for me. I was just like, okay, so now my baths, I can do them, but it's kind of like, it's not something where I'm like, okay, let me do it like I used to, because it takes a little bit more energy and strength for me to even try to like get situated and then get out. I will say from me walking more and being more active, because I was most active towards the middle to this end of my pregnancy than the beginning. When I get in the shower, my legs, it's not like I'm getting exhausted by standing up for that long or anything like that. So I'm able to comfortably take my shower and like get out, you know, without feeling like I just ran 3 miles. So that has been a good positive change or improvement in lieu of me not being able to enjoy my baths as much as I did before. Also, when it comes to baths, she did let me know, like, obviously, well, I don't know. Everybody's different. So if you like really, really, really hot, steamy baths, you may need to turn it down a little bit, make it a little cooler, just because it's something about the temperatures that you don't want to like cause you any cramps or anything. So that's one thing. But the way the analogy she gave me was like, your bath isn't going to be as hot as a hot tub. So you should be fine. Like, and I know like the time span of like being in the tub. So I have my Flow app that I use, and it recommended no more than like 25 to 30 minutes of being in the tub. But I was kind of propped up, you know, and I wasn't laying on my back or anything like that. I would kind of be in the tub for like maybe an hour and 15 minutes, because it was like I would clean myself off, but then I like to just like relax and soak. And I use like the Dr. Teal's bubble bath. So it was kind of really like therapeutic. It was smelling good. I had my candle lit. So I would really like relax. And that didn't cause me any issues, but go with what your gut says. Also go with your doctor's recommendation. But she was like, it's fine. It wasn't any issues for me. So that's my personal experience with the baths. I definitely recommend them when you can take advantage of them. Of course, if it gets to a point where it's like, okay, it's taking more for me to take a bath, then you got to go back to the basics. But it's been fine. It hasn't been too crazy. My showers I can manage them and still have like my normal length showers. It's not like I have to kind of like speed in and get out. I can comfortably take my shower. So that is the only thing about baths. And the final thing that I still constantly ask to this day as I go to my OB appointments and everything is, what are the things to prepare for a non-medical vaginal birth? Like, and I mean, that's, again, it's going to range different things for different people. Everybody is going to be different. Everybody's body is different. But I do want to be able, or make sure that I'm considering, you know, all of the resources out there and taking advantage of the things that I can do before going into labor versus waiting until it's weeks before I go into labor. So the whole pregnancy, I've been, you know, like researching things that I can do. And then of course asking like fellow moms that have done it already. And I would say the main advice that I've gotten, which has been very helpful, is first and foremost, continuing to drink lots and lots of water. Like, hydrating yourself really well is going to always pay off in the end. I know that they say water is good for us anyways, but specifically like with your pregnancy, it's a running trend that the more hydrated you are, the better and easier your pregnancy will be. Also, taking advantage of like the yoga. I know on YouTube they have a third trimester yoga sessions or routines that instructors offer. And I've been taking advantage of those. And those have definitely been kind of like helping me calm myself and also kind of allow myself to stretch my leg muscles and be able to kind of like be familiar with the parts of my body that's going to be the most active during labor and strengthening those areas so that I'm prepared for labor, rather than it feeling like it's a complete body shock. It's something you've never done, so it's obviously going to be some type of shock, right? But at least your body is prepared for what it's going to do, and you're helping get your mind and body in sync for that versus trying to do all of that when you're in a labor and delivery room. So those have been helping me like tremendously. And it's also eliminated the stress or like the fear of giving birth. Because I don't know about y'all, but when I was like finding out I was pregnant, I'm like, oh my God, I don't even like needles. And you're telling me I'm about to like have to push a baby out? Like, what? But today, I can confidently say that I feel prepared. I'm actually looking forward, as odd as it may sound, looking forward to the experience. And I am grateful for how far I've gotten in my pregnancy. 33 weeks today. That was my dog. And I just feel capable of giving birth, delivering my baby. And I don't feel like there's any hesitation or discomfort or fear preventing me from going through with what I've decided. So definitely staying hydrated, continuing to like do your yoga, specifically third trimester yoga. Once you're getting towards that point, start when you're in the third trimester, go ahead and take advantage of those. I know there's also other things you can do. I think it's like a perinatal massage. I haven't done that myself, but I've read a lot about it and I can see how it does help, especially like specifically for tearing and things like that. But I mean, I haven't done it. I'm just more of like I'm going to do what I can do. So I'm stretching, doing what I can do, like my stretches that they've recommended. Outside of that, hydrating well. I'm even meditating more, just again to just make sure mind body is in sync. And honestly, continuing to like eat healthy, make sure I'm active, walking as much as I can, and thinking positive thoughts. Like, don't allow fear to get in the way of you enjoying your pregnancy as well as your delivery. It's a lot of things we could talk about that could cause fear or, create anxiety. And I would say don't focus on all of that just for your mental health because you're already in a vulnerable position creating a baby and getting through your pregnancy. And every day you're getting stronger and you're becoming a better, renewed version of yourself. So don't discredit or take all of that good stuff away because you're clogging your mind with things that are like embarking fear. So if you can stay away from any like stories of, I wouldn't say bad pregnancy, but like any stories where it's like, oh my God, this had to happen to somebody when they were in the hospital, or this is what they went through. Oh my God, I hope that doesn't happen to me. Like any times that you see anything or like any red flags that you get, just avoid it completely. Don't even allow it to go in your mind. And you have the right to respectfully tell people if you're getting an inkling that they're about to go into some type of bad delivery experience, or like, you know, because some people like start off sarcastic and things like that. You have the right to say, respectfully, I do not want to hear that, because that's not going to be conducive to my pregnancy and delivery. Simple. I know that I've been guarding my peace. That's been one of my main priorities, because again, in a very, very vulnerable state, is things that it bothers me a little bit more than what it did prior to me being pregnancy. And that's just me being real with y'all. Like, before, it'll be things that it's like it's been some things that's been said, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, you know, go by my day. But then like, now I'm just like, why did you say that? Like, why did you have to say that to me? What was the point of saying that? Why did you think that was okay to say that to somebody who's going through this right now? So I've been very adamant on just making sure like I am blocking out any negativity from my little bubble, and just continuing to allow people to like pour positivity into me, and also pouring positivity into myself. Don't think the worst. If something is like, if you feel like something is wrong, or anytime something is off, go to your doctor. Don't be afraid to go to your doctor. That's what they're there for. Take advantage of it. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't go to Google. Because I was like one of those people like, oh my God, let me Google what is going on, or like why this is. Go to your doctor, call them, email them, send them a message on their portal, whatever you need to do. But let them know, so that you can ease away those like unknowns and the anxieties of that. Because again, everybody's pregnancy is different. What you may go through, somebody else may never go through. And that's okay. But as long as you have a healthy baby, and you are healthy, and you have a great delivery, and y'all both come out, that's all that matters. Like, that's all that matters. So prioritize your mental health throughout that. And if there's again any classes that you want to take the prenatal classes. I know we are taking three. We're taking prenatal. It's like an understanding your newborn, like once they get here, and then it's the breastfeeding course that we're taking. And I mean, you got to do what you got to do to make sure that you feel as equipped and prepared for this new adventure. So those are like the top 5 questions that I wanted to share with y'all. That was like what I really was asking about throughout my pregnancy. Besides, of course, like, oh, you know, the hospital process, which they'll go through that with you. Your doctor will walk through all of that with you. And if the hospital offers, I recommend doing a tour at the hospital, so that you're aware of like where to go, what your surroundings are going to naturally look like, so that it's not a thing that you're trying to figure out at the same time of going to the hospital to give birth. So that's one tip of advice. I took advantage of that, and I feel even more confident of like, whenever it happens, I know what interest we should be going into. I know what floor, all of that good stuff. I've already registered at the hospital, so that stuff is good to go. Another tip, register before you go into labor. So if you know your due date, or you know your expected range, register at the hospital so that they're already aware. That eliminates you doing all that paperwork when you first get in there. So that is the main things that I wanted to share with y'all. And I hope that does help eliminate some anxiety or confusion, or just like, you know, provides you with a little bit more clarity on like what the process looks like for someone else. Again, I'm in my 3rd trimester still, so we're getting up to the point of like go time. But again, like, I feel like I definitely wanted to make sure I am sharing my journey with others so that nobody feels alone. So comment those questions below. I'm happy to respond. If I have an answer for that. If I don't, I'll definitely let you know. But yeah, those are the questions I wanted to share with y'all. And then getting into the pregnancy journal that I wanted to show y'all. It looks like this. So you put a picture of your baby at the phases that they're in, and it has like tabs. Of course, like the first page, you have the baby name, and then it gives you like actually for your due date and stuff like that. But it has tabs. I want to see if it can like show y'all better. You can't really see it, but the tabs read off like the discovery. So it's going into like when you first found out, like how did you feel? Who told you? How did you announce it to others? Your like Are you excited? Are you nervous? And then it has a tab for doctor visits. That's where I kind of capture all of my questions. It had first trimester tab, second trimester tab, third trimester tab, the plan, so the birthing plan, which is what I'm like working on now, as well as in the third trimester tab, and then the arrival. So it's like little things that you can like talk about, like how did you feel giving birth? What was the time that your baby was delivered? How did you feel when you first saw the baby? And just like little things about that, even questions about the hospital. So it's a really like engaging book that you can kind of capture your full journey into and just keep this as like a memory thing. And one thing I definitely like about the first, second, third trimester sections, it breaks it down like you have pages for each month for that trimester. So you're able to write out like my weight at month 6 is this. What foods the foods that I'm craving are, and then you write out that my favorite clothing this month is, and then it allows you like other pages to kind of document like just other thoughts. And I would use the other pages like for each month because of course I was seeing my OB once a month. Well, now it's almost like twice a month. Yeah, it's twice a month. But in the beginning, it's like, okay, this is where I'm going to just log all of the questions that I have for this appointment. Like any questions I had about WIC, any questions I had about like breastfeeding. And when I didn't know about the prenatal classes, I asked her, I'm like, are there prenatal classes that I can take advantage of? Like, how do I sign up? So things like that, I would just jot all those questions down in the journal. And I took this journal to my appointment every time. Like every appointment, just like you grab your wallet, I had my pregnancy journal because I just wanted to make sure I got all of my thoughts and concerns out in that appointment versus like trying to memorize everything and it's already so much going on in my mind when I'm there. Because like y'all, when you go to a doctor's appointment anyways, half the time it's like, okay, I'm going to ask this, and then you get there and you forget. And then it's like, oh, okay, I'll just call or I'll ask later. And 9 times out of 10, you're not going to remember. But for my pregnancy stuff, I was like, I need to know this or this is going to bug me until the next month. And by the next month, I'm going to have 5 other questions to ask about, especially based off of what we talk about in the appointment. So you're so like focused on like what's happening in that moment of the appointment, especially when you do your ultrasounds and things like that. So I found this to be a really, really helpful resource to just log those thoughts, make sure I enter all those questions that I had. And then whenever my doctor was like, okay, what questions do you have for me? We got right to it. And the cool thing is the front part that you saw, you can update that picture with any, like as your ultrasounds progress. That's what we did. I would change it out every time so that you can kind of see like, oh, the baby is growing. Like at first it's a little circle and then now it's like an actual baby. So I really like that about the journal. And then another thing that I really enjoyed about it was the pockets that was included. So it has like these pockets in the front, like section that you could just literally like have whatever you want. I use that to actually have my appointment reminders every time like they gave me documents related to my appointment of like, oh, this is when your next ones are coming up. I put them there and then of course transfer to my phone calendar. But that is the journal and I thought that it was very, very helpful. Shout out to my sister for recommending it because honestly, like I don't think I would have been able to keep up with all of my stuff as well. And I didn't have to like load up my notes in my phone. So this is great. And then it's a way for me to kind of like have a little memorial journal of how the pregnancy went. So I'll link that in the description of this video. If this is your first time visiting my channel and this is your first video, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. Be sure to like and subscribe so that you can be alerted whenever I drop my next video and we can stay in touch. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.